Mike Beislein. I am the former co-partner of Phillips Workplace Interiors. And today I'm the vice president at Danker, and we are an interiors integrator. Born and raised in central Pennsylvania, as Claudia said, and spent 6 years in the Marine Corps, which I think shaped who I am today and how I engage with people, how I engage with life, how I look at life. And so I'm happy to share this, and I'm smiling inside on this empathetic conversation that you, Claudia, started, because I never really thought that much about it. I never did a lot of assessment taking, but my partner thought it would really be great before we go into business together to do assessments on each other and just see, are we really compatible, right? Are we a yin and yang? Are we compatible? Or, what are the differences? Just so we knew going in. And my assessment came back, I was really unempathetic, right? I was a 3. And I think it shocked all of us. And I think part of that is, it's maybe not that I'm unempathetic. It's just the way it showed up in the assessments that I do make decisions really fast. And I'm the first to remain humble and say, if I make a mistake, I'll be the first to tell you I made that mistake. But we pivot from it and we learn from it and we keep moving. And so I don't know if that had a direct correlation to low empathy, where depending on how the assessments were done. But I've now done probably half a dozen different assessments, and they're all pretty common that I have a low empathy. And Claudia, I would acknowledge what you said. I think people would agree with you that I do have a bigger heart than maybe what the assessments are saying. And so I call it the art and the science of the assessment, right? There's a science side and then there's an art side. And so how you show up to me is probably a little more important than the assessment, but that's where that running inside joke has come from, that an assessment says I'm low. So we'll see.
Yeah. And it's a great cautionary reminder for everyone that an assessment is not the be all, do all, end all. It is a piece of data in a big picture when we're looking at people, because anyone who does know you, if they asked you any questions about how you treat people, it is to say you go out of your way to help people, and your employees, when they needed something, or they had a crisis in their lives or something came up, you literally would give the shirt off your back to them if they needed it. And it wasn't about how it impacted the business. You factored those things in, but you put the employee and their families first over and over and over again.
Claudia, I'm glad you brought it up, because you're right. While I'm really humble, I believe when things aren't good at home, or, they're not good with an employee, they're not good at the office. And so if we truly believe we hire the right people, right? We hire humble people, people that are hungry, people that are smart, and you do everything to protect the employee, right? Because without them, you started this podcast with the comment, without the employees, I have nothing, right? I don't have a business. I don't have people to serve our clients. And so when things go sideways, whether it's a death in the family, a death on the team, kids are sick, spousal needs some type of medical care, or parents, it's like, we've got to go out of our way to do what we can to support the employee and their family. Because at the end of the day, we want the employee back, right? We want them back as their whole self. And oftentimes, when these outside distractions come in, it distracts from the business. And so you're right. I will protect what I consider my largest asset next to my clients is my employees. And I'll do everything I can to protect them.
And this doesn't mean that you ever compromised on your expectations for performance. You have high expectations.
I do, right? And so I think, as you worked with me in my career, we've talked a lot about this. I do have high expectations. And I think some of that, because I questioned some of my leadership styles back in the day, that I wonder if some of that discipline and expectations and accountability come from my Marine Corps days. But I expect people to give it their all, right? I expect people to show up, even though I know in my heart, people can't give 110% every day. You can't, right? And we'll talk about that later. How do we give back to make sure people are recharging and getting this opportunity for rejuvenation? But yeah, we give a lot, but we expect a lot. And it becomes a really harmonious relationship, quite frankly, that there's a lot of respect that goes both ways. when you can find that harmonious balance that I'm talking about between the give and the take, but the support and the nurturing and the caring and the relationships that we build with our employees, it's